Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of Bigby and
Boy Blue.
at today's episode we are doing War of the Villains, which is our top picks of our favorite villains that we read or seen in film, television, cartoon shows, whichever.
Very good. Actually, I didn't take that into account. Mine are all comic books or manga. So,
Well, I
my
figured because some of them sprung from cartoon shows like Harley Quinn, for example. She came from the animated
oh,
show
see?
before.
Thinking
Yeah,
outside the box. I like it.
yeah.
See? Big
It's
B is
what I
just
do.
got it all over me today. I need to be
Yeah,
more prepared.
yeah. I actually didn't know that until like fairly recent when they did the Suicide Squad film. They're saying like how Harley Quinn came from the animated show first, and then they threw her into the
It's true.
comic book.
Yeah, she was a
Yeah.
popular enough character. Who knows why? No, I'm just kidding. She's fun.
She's fun. Nah, I don't know why. I mean,
Speaking of Harley Quinn, already I'm going to derail our conversation. Heroes in Crisis #1. What are your thoughts
oh
without being too
dang,
spoilery? Yeah,
that was insane.
yeah, that was
I did not
pretty
see that
heavy.
coming. Yeah, like I straight out the gate, I was like, huh, okay, I see Booster Gold. Not a big fan of him, but I don't really have anything against him. I'm like, oh, just here's a hero who doesn't get enough spotlight, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And then out of nowhere, the super villain, Harley Quinn pops up in the same diner. I'm like, huh, this is I had never seen these two interact before, if at all, and it was surprising how that turned out. Like, I don't know if we're doing spoilers or what.
Maybe
And
keep
then,
it spoiler free, just because it's a
yeah,
fairly
okay,
new thing. But
yeah,
I
okay.
I dug it. I was surprised, kind of at what transpired, but um, I look forward to seeing what comes next. I This is going to be more controversial, but as far as Tom King goes, I liked that first issue more than. Well, actually, no, I can't say that. I was going to say issue 1 of Mr. Miracle, but now that I think about it, issue 1 is pretty good.
So it's not
It's
controversial.
not controversial. I had to think about it. I was like, never mind. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I read 6 issues of Mr. Miracle. I need to finish that when it comes out. Although for some reason I thought that was coming out soon, the paperback or the trade, and it's not. I don't think it's coming out until like February or something. So I might break down and read it digitally because I have no self-control.
And you're obsessed with the digital
Yeah,
lately.
well, I mean that
Yeah, so,
helps. Yeah,
yeah,
and I'm a Tom King fan.
fanatic. Yeah.
Yeah, even when he disappoints me a little bit.
Huh.
He's
Yeah.
still, but I think that's what I liked about Heroes in Crisis. I can't put my finger on it, but something about his normal kind of Tom King isms, they fit better in that story. Like
Yeah.
I use this example probably too much, but in he uses repetition a lot, and sometimes it's great, like in Vision, and sometimes it's not so great, like in Batman, when Batman says, "I will break his back" about
Oh
Bane
yeah.
like 5,000 times in one issue. I was like, that's
Yeah.
that's maybe a little too much. Of course, I exaggerate, not actually 5,000 times, but
It
um,
felt like
e-
it. I could see where
e-
you're coming from. Yeah.
enough where they took out a couple between the issue and the trade. I think they actually removed some. Like that's how many times he says it. So, but anyways, I think Heroes in Crisis from that first issue, that was for me more good Tom King.
Yeah. I agree. I'm not. There aren't many stories out there that I'm like, oh hey, I would like to see this where this route is going, but this one is one of them because I'm not a big Justice League fan. Yeah, but every now and again I'll pick up a book or a copy and read
Mhm.
it. But for the most part, I just like them in their own individual, problems and whatnot. But this really does piqued up my interest quite a bit actually.
Yeah, and I
Does
already
it
told you
focus on
what
the
I thought
yeah
the saddest moment was,
yeah no
which
spoilers.
I don't think a lot of people. I mean, you agreed. I think some
Yeah,
people would kind of be like, "Eh, that's not the saddest part," but like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's so sad."
it is. But I
I know.
can't. No spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people are not happy with what became of a certain character. I don't know if I have enough attachment to that certain character to care too much, but eh.
Well, yeah. There's a number of them in there that I was like, because a good chunk of them I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Anyways, now back to the main topic. Our
Yeah,
favorite villains. Yay!
yeah. Woo.
Woo! Do you want to go first?
Yes, I will.
All right,
If
go
you
ahead.
don't mind. I mean, you
I don't
started off.
mind.
Okay,
I just started
so
talking about what I wanted to talk about, apparently.
yeah, it's okay. I mean, we did start with the villain though, Harley Quinn.
That's true.
So one of my favorite villains comes out of the DC universe, and we spoke about him last week when he did the whole beat the snot out of Batman.
Ah,
The Reverse
yes.
Flash,
Mm.
Eo Barthon, the Reverse Flash. He is quite an interesting character to me because he's from the future and he comes back to the past to ruin the Flash's life for ruining his life in the future. In some story arcs, that's what he thinks. But yeah, he's just literally like what's his name? Reverse Flash, yellow suit, black, red lightning, and he does everything he can to make the Flash's life miserable as possible, like including going back in time to kill his mom, which makes the whole Flash being the Flashpoint in general. And he
Yeah.
beat the crap out of Batman in like 30 seconds, which was awesome.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit since I read Flashpoint, but I mean I think you just said it. So he goes back and he is the one who kills Flash's mom, right? I
Yeah,
think you just said that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, dang man, that's messed up. But what I don't understand about Flashpoint is how killing Flash's mom like apparently affected the whole DC continuity. I guess I never understood that. I was like, how?
Well, that he didn't cause that whole continuity. The Flash going back in time saving her is what caused the whole
That's right.
Flashpoint
That's right.
incident. Yeah. So he would have just he if he didn't do any of that, if he didn't go back in time to save his mom, all of that would have not have happened. But
Right.
being
And
the
then
Flash,
does it ever explain? It's like I said, it's been a little bit. Does it ever explain how he remembers that things are
yeah,
different?
I believe they said, if I remembered right, that since he was the one who caused it initially, he still has the memories of both the
Of both
reality where,
timelines.
yeah, yeah,
Very,
and
very interesting. I actually liked Flashpoint.
oh,
I liked the Flashpoint Batman.
yeah, it was Thomas
Thomas
Wayne.
Wayne just being like a Punisher, basically,
Yeah,
except with a bat suit.
yeah, and guns, and being a
Yeah,
doctor. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Flashpoint was a pretty fun event actually.
it was. It really was. It was something new and unique, and for once, the bad guy was the Flash.
Yeah,
Out of that whole thing, he caused that mess, and they took the Reverse Flash to remind him by jump starting his memory.
Are there any other Reverse Flash issues or stories that you like?
Well, there was the one instance in the button
Right.
where he just took Batman apart in 30 seconds. That's probably
It is pretty amazing.
the highlight of his whole career.
I
Not
agree.
killing, not messing with the Flash, just the fact that he took down the man who has a plan for every villain, every hero, except for someone who has the Flash's powers, but not the Flash's code
That's
and
true. That's
mentality.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Reverse Flash. Well, I will keep us within the DC universe and say Sinestro is one of my
Oh.
favorite villains. Last week, I realized that I didn't really have a favorite Green Lantern, but I can say without a doubt that Sinestro is a great villain, and I'll tell you why. Sinestro's kind of got a point. I mean, he wants order in the universe, which
Mhm.
ultimately the Green Lanterns, I think they want order too. Maybe they want more peace,
Yeah.
whereas Sinestro wants order by any means necessary, which obviously is through fear and violence,
Mhm.
but ultimately he's not trying to, for the most part, like destroy things. He's not trying to cause chaos. He's trying to do the opposite. He's trying to kind of rein the universe
Yeah.
in under his image.
Guidance.
Yeah. So I think he's an interesting guy. I don't think he thinks of himself as evil. I think he thinks
Yeah.
he's justified in what he do. Like, like the Joker, you're like, yeah, the Joker's crazy. He just does what he wants and
Mhm.
it's bad. But Sinestro, like, I feel like he has reasons, logical reasons for doing what he does.
Yeah, I agree with you there. He's one of the few villains that actually has a real genuine purpose of saving the universe in his own way. Just he has the wrong the
The
wrong
wrong
way of going
way.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he his I think his story, the Green Lantern Corps Sinestro, that whole little shtick they did, I think in New 52,
Uh-huh.
I really liked it because, he's back as a Green Lantern, but still the same guy
Right.
kind of thing.
But yeah, Sinestro's he's the man with a plan.
That doesn't always work.
That's true, yeah. Often thwarted by those Green Lanterns.
I will say this about him though. They did cast him perfectly. I loved Mark Strong as Sinestro. Like it a lot of things they got a lot of things wrong in that Green Lantern film, but Mark Strong as Sinestro and Michael Clark Duncan as I forget his name, the big alien guy who's training him, were
Oh
probably like
yeah.
the highlights of that film. The only highlights of that film.
Right. Yeah, he was well cast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I enjoyed I mean, yeah, you're right. I enjoyed that aspect of that movie.
yeah,
The rest of it, not so much.
yeah. The rest of the whole 2 hours and some odd minutes.
Yeah.
Without them in it, it was just
All right, what is your next pick?
my next pick is probably one of everybody's favorite villain, and he's my favorite because just the way they write him in certain points. The Clown Prince of Crime, the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of great and amazing stories dealing with this clown, and and just each version of the Joker seems as crazy than the one before. Like there's some points where he's just like a serial killer, just going around killing people, and then the other points where he's just like, oh hey, I'm just gonna do a prank today. What's the prank gonna be? La la la. And then other points where he's just like, you know what? I just don't feel like doing anything. Just not gonna do much. Like he's one of those characters where they don't need a backstory, like a real history for him. They
Right.
don't really need much. They just be like, okay, this is the crazy clown. Deal with it, and people will be like, okay, because it's like another instance where like he proves a point, not a great point, but we're all one bad day away from being him. In the great killing joke story by the great Alan Moore, which makes him go like full crazy by taking on Commissioner Gordon as a captive and trying to prove that anybody could have been him if they had one bad day just like his, though he doesn't truly remember it. And yeah, he's just a crazy, fun-loving, psychotic clown that is really fun to read and really fun to watch on film and TV shows.
Yeah, he is really interesting. Trying to think of my favorite Joker that's written. I I like kind of how Snyder tries to make him almost like a horror thing.
Mhm.
Like I remember I think it's in Snyder's run where he's just like underneath Commissioner Gordon's bed
Yeah.
when it comes out. That's super creepy. He also like kills a ton of cops in Snyder's run, like in the
Yeah, when he's
police station.
returned coming.
Yeah. So that I like that. He's pretty horrifying in Morrison's run,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to think. I think just like I don't know, the ending of Dark Knight Returns I think is my favorite Joker just because I don't know, he's so crazy. I he like I feel bad saying I mean, he's just awful in Dark Knight Returns. He like kills
Yeah.
like little kids. Just like it's not good. Um Which I'm always like, man, that was printed in like 1985 or
Yeah.
86. I was like, it's pretty heavy. And then I mean, spoiler for Dark Knight Returns, but I mean, killing himself.
What?
Yeah. And then to like frame Batman, it's the ultimate thing there. I
Yeah.
don't know. Also, I mean, this is kind of a recent thing, but the whole Batman Who Laughs thing, I
Mhm.
liked that in that world. It's so
Yeah.
insane and doesn't make any sense, but like the Joker had like a poison in his body where whoever was around when he died would like have
Become
the
him.
Joker
Yeah.
toxin. Yeah. It's so it doesn't make any sense, but it's like that extra level of insanity that I'm like, ah,
Who
I like
cares?
that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
works. Because who just so happens to be the last person standing? Batman.
right.
And what happens when you get a Batman Joker hybrid? The craziest, creepiest, probably unstoppable person in the whole universe.
It's true. I also I like the Joker, and by like I mean like he says some really disturbing things in Morrison's. It's the Arkham book. It's like a
Arkham Asylum, a
yeah
serious place on a
on a serious
serious earth.
Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only problem with that book is Joker's dialogue is all scrawled in that red
Hmm.
writing that's super hard to read,
It is
and it's like I want to know what he's saying because I know it's like crazy and
creepy and disturbing.
creepy,
Yeah.
but like it's so hard to read. It's like my one complaint. I almost want them to like reprint that with easier to read font because
Yeah.
it's like a little too much. So I'm sorry, whoever was the letterer like
The inker and
40
whatnot. Yeah.
years ago who did that. I'm sorry. It's hard to read.
Man, he's probably like very upset at you right now
Yeah,
if he's
I'm sure.
listening. Like, oh, that man. I'll make it darker red.
Well, to keep it on Batman and like and
DC.
Morrison
Yeah.
and absolutely insane. Um, Professor Pig is
Oh,
such a
that guy's
great villain.
yeah.
It's so weird. Um,
Hmm.
I really don't think he's in a ton of stuff beyond Morrison's Batman and Robin, where
Hmm.
Dick is Batman and Damian is Robin. But he's just so strange. I was trying to look up Professor Pig quotes, but I guess he was on Gotham, so they're
Yeah,
just like
yeah, he was
Gotham quotes. But man, I
very
don't know what it is.
disturbing.
Very disturbing.
Yeah,
He like does some weird stuff. He like chops people's like arms
body
off and
parts.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
and
like
misplaces it.
yeah,
This guy's
he's
just
and it like some of his writing or his dialogue, that was like the first time I really thought that like Morrison might just be like tripping out on drugs. Like while he's like
you
I'm
know,
like I was like, he might be on something during this particular scene.
it's funny. Mitch from our work, I believe he did say like some of the stuff when he writes. I don't remember if it's Grant Morrison or someone else, but he says somebody's like tripping on acid while they're getting these ideas while they're writing.
Oh,
And
Morrison 100%.
yeah, okay,
That's true.
so there you
Yeah.
go. He's pretty much tripping on acid. Had the pig eating a
Right.
pork talk to him like, "I'm gonna cut you up." Like, oh God, I'll keep that
No,
down.
he it's interesting if you read about him and or just look up interviews because he's very open about it.
That
So
he's
going
taking
back,
LSD.
yeah, going back to Arkham Asylum, that one he was straight for. He was like sober, didn't do anything. But what he did do was he didn't sleep. He would like deprive himself of sleep for like days while writing it. And he tried to get into a strange state by doing that. And then uh I think he was actually clean all the way through Doom Patrol, which is crazy to me because Doom Patrol is like,
That makes the most
yeah,
bizarre
I'm like,
out
what?
there.
Um, but yeah, he's definitely admitted to using drugs for like invisibles uh
Yeah.
and other stuff. So yeah, it's documented.
Now I'm gonna like buy a bunch of his stuff to figure out which one he was tripping and
Yeah.
whatnot.
I would have thought for sure Animal Man because there's a scene where Animal Man literally is tripping and you're like, "Oh, maybe that was one." But
We'll never know.
supposedly
We gotta find out. Eh?
yeah. I listened to this really long interview with him and maybe I'll is on a podcast. Maybe I'll put the link. But he talks about how like he I swear this is what he said. He was sober for a long time, didn't do any drugs until sometime in the 90s. He went to like Kathmandu or somewhere in Asia, and he had this like strange out of body experience, and he's never had it since. So he tries to replicate it with drugs.
Are you
Like,
serious?
yeah, he said he was like he met these like aliens basically in
What?
yeah, he said he met aliens in like Kathmandu or somewhere like that, and he's always wanted to return to that state of mind. So he's been doing drugs.
Oh my goodness.
I will definitely link him talking about it because like
That's
it sounds
I
like I'm just pulling your leg, but it's 100% from his mouth. Like that's
I
what
can't.
yeah.
I would love to see this interview
Yeah.
of him talking about tripping out, meeting aliens.
Or rather meeting aliens for real and then tripping
Oh,
out
that's right.
later to replicate. Yeah.
To get that feeling. Huh.
No, if you it's from the Kevin Smith podcast, Fat Man on Batman. It's
Oh, I
like
love that man.
it's 3 or 4 hours long, and it's I mean, obviously, mostly Morrison talking about his Batman
Mhm.
run, but he also talks a lot about
Drugs.
drugs, and I mean, you have to listen to it. It's the most entertaining 3 hours ever. He talks about scorpion gods that he met, and how they almost killed him. Yeah, I'm not making this up.
Yeah, I,
It's intense.
it sounds intense, and I'm looking forward of listening 3 hours for this.
Yeah. All right, I derailed the conversation again, but Professor Pig if, is just like he's so weird. He's so weird. I like it.
It is. I think the creepiest moment of his was, I think they just he was just being used as a main villain, and Batman's hunting him down, and it was, what is it? Rest in Brit Batman. That little run where Batman is captured by his brother or father, and Robin is captured by Professor Pig, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
telling him all the things, like he's gonna cut him up or give him like flipper fingers. And I
yeah.
think that's the first time I was like, "What?" It disturbed me because I have a little, I get uncomfortable seeing, like people getting vivisected and being replaced with
Right.
human animal parts. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Yeah.
I in my head I'm always like, oh, I'd love if Professor Pig were in a movie, but then I'm like, not really. Like,
Yeah, no. It's like the island of Dr. Monroe. No,
yeah.
good on page. I don't want to see it.
Right.
So
All
keeping with
right.
DC, my top choice
Oh,
is my by far my favorite villain in DC Universe is Two-Face.
good choice.
Yeah. He doesn't get too much attention because, everybody's focused on the Joker, Bane, and all
Hmm.
these other super powered villains. But Two-Face is my favorite because he's a Gemini, and he likes long walks on the beach. And I joke, but I believe he is a Gemini because he has a whole thing with a dual two split personality
Mm.
kind of thing. Everything with the number two, it's his what do they call it? His not Achilles heel. I forget what they call it, but his obsession with the number two ever since he got the acid
Right.
thrown in his face. And there's a lot of great Two-Face stories out there, like, what is it, The Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
Hmm.
Uh, Pretty much it just shows the origin story of Harvey Dent trying to help Batman and Gordon go after the Holiday Killer, and in this long Halloween, because it starts on Halloween, it goes through each and every holiday. The killer strikes again and again, and they never know who's doing it up until towards the end, where I think it's either Salvatore or Maroni. One of them throws acid in his face, and he gets the whole Two-Face, look
Hmm.
kind of thing, and he just goes off doing Two-Face kind of justice kind of thing, flipping a coin, heads you live, tails you die, all that wonderful stuff. And his story is pretty interesting to me because it's a hero fall from grace kind of thing and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think.
think they captured it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Oh, I was gonna say I
Yeah.
think he's good because he's another one of those villains who thinks in his mind legitimately that he's doing the right thing, or that because he's leaving it to chance that it's like
Yeah.
fate,
Yeah.
whatever is decided.
Yeah.
So he, I don't,
50-50.
yeah, he's another guy who doesn't really see himself as like a villain. He's not like a Professor Pig, like insane.
Yeah.
He's got like an odd sort of, I don't want to say morality, but maybe like justice to him. Like he's got
Yeah.
a code. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It's just black and white.
Yeah. There's a, yeah, like you say, he always uses his coin for, even with when he's trying to commit a crime. He flips the coin saying, okay, we'll rob this place or we're just gonna do something good. then he flips the coin. He says, "Oh, the good thing he donates money, or the bad thing he goes off and robs a bank." It's it's interesting to have a villain like that. Just be like, "Oh, we'll do one good thing today or one bad thing tomorrow. We'll just flip and decide it."
Right.
Yeah, that's all you got to say about
Yeah,
Mister Two Face.
he's a good one.
Yeah,
Well, I will remain in DC land as well, and also remain in Batman land. We've been talking some Batman.
yeah, he has some great
Uh,
villains.
this is no surprise because I've talked about it, I think, several times now. But the Court of Owls, one of my
Yeah.
one of my favorite stories. Um, I just like how they exist, and Bruce didn't know they existed. Um, I love the what they put him through with the maze, and the drugs. Everyone's getting drugged.
Yeah,
Um,
that's Morrison for you.
yeah. um, but yeah, the core vowels. I don't know. I just like that they completely break Batman, and he thinks that he knows the city so well, but he learns that he doesn't. Um, so yeah, I'm always a fan of Court of Owls. I don't know if they'll ever be used as well as the original story, but you know,
Yeah, that their introduction was really creepy as hell for me. Like
yeah.
the owls alone, like how they all watch him, especially
Mhm.
in that what is it? They have him in the middle, are surrounded by all these rich owl people. I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah, I
Who?
like when I was first reading that story, and you spoilers, sorry for this story. Um, when you discover that all of their nests, in quotes, their nests are inside Wayne buildings, and they've been there the entire time, just like living there and listening. I was like, oh my gosh, it's creepy.
It really is. Like
Like just
who?
people on the walls listening to you and watching you.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like who thought of to make owls creepy as hell?
Right.
Of course someone who's tripping on acid. Like, what if these owls are watching us? And then
Well, actually, no, that's Snyder.
that was Snyder. I thought it was
Yeah,
Morrison.
no, that's Scott Snyder.
Oh
So
dang.
yeah, so we can
Oh
thank
geez.
Scott Snyder for scaring us.
He probably took some LSD with Morrison. If they're drugging Batman, like why not? Oh geez.
So yeah, the Court of Owls. I was gonna go on another tangent, but I won't. Um, I like that story. I
Yeah,
like that
they don't.
story because it gave me the willies. I think I've
Yeah.
said this before too, but that was like one of the only things where I finished it and then I immediately read it again. I just thought it was like that awesome. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so cool. I want to
It,
start
it
over.
it really is because they don't attack Batman with brute force or like in a fight like all the others
Hmm.
villains that he's had. They just went at him like psychologically, mentally, and had him like break. Like there was a
Right.
breaking point mentally where he's like snap and he thought he was turning into an owl and I was like, oh
Yeah.
jeez,
No,
oh
and
my
like when
god.
he's in that maze and like he keeps coming back to the room with the pictures,
Hmm.
and then they take a
Yeah.
picture of him. I don't know. And then he's like drugged again. He's drinking the water. He stumbles
Mhm.
back, and then like his pictures on the wall. I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so creepy.
It's so trippy. Like
Yeah.
uh
So actually, I'll make my tangent really quick.
yeah.
So with that issue, Greg Capullo really, because in that issue, you rotate it. I
Hmm.
think it's issue number 5. And I love that you have to rotate it because it gets super
Yeah.
weird, and it's kind of like Batman's mental place. And apparently, Greg Capullo had to fight editorial pretty hard to do that.
Are you
They're like,
serious?
oh yeah, they're like, oh, no one will know how to read it, and he's like, no, it'll be great, and he is like so like passionate about it that he just like I don't know, he made him see his way, and it's a great
Yeah.
issue. So,
Oh
yeah,
man, so creepy.
it's so creepy.
Yeah. So keeping in DC, I know we're talking a lot about
I
DC,
know
but
we
there are
are
a
a
bunch of
lot.
great villains. Yeah.
They are.
We'll get to Marvel and everybody else after in a bit, I guess. But Bane is my second favorite villain of all
Hmm.
time because he broke. He's a guy who's known for breaking the bat, which he lifted up Batman and just rammed him down his knee, breaking his back because he wanted to prove pretty much he's the toughest guy around. And he was born in a prison, and in the prison he had a dream of a city with a giant bat in it. So automatically he thought, where's this place? If I break that bat, the city's mine. And it turns out to be Gotham City, and he ends up going to Gotham after he breaks out of the prison and volunteers for this steroid kind of, what is it, injections into his body, which makes him stronger and super smart. And so he goes back to Gotham with everything that he knows with a little crew of guys and breaks out all of Batman's craziest, insane villains out of Arkham Asylum, and they all run amok. So Batman has to go track them all down, bring them back, and at the end of his run, I think he has like he gets home and he's all worn out, exhausted, and Bane's sitting there waiting for him, knows that Batman's Bruce Wayne, and he ends up just beating the living snot out of him and breaking his back. So I thought that was like really cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
This,
a guy who thought of everything. Here
so
comes one tough guy.
did you say he's your second favorite overall or
Yes.
DC? And
Oh,
and
DC. Yeah.
oh, DC. Okay. Yeah, he is a great villain. I feel like aside, and this, I could be being really naive right now, but aside from Nightfall, which is that story,
Hmm.
does he have any other like really famous stories? Or is,
Yeah.
I mean,
There are a couple out there. Like, there's this one. He's a side character with Ra's al Ghul in one of
oh,
the
okay.
Legends of the Dark Knight, and Bane's trying to prove to the head of the demon that instead of having Batman be his successor, it could be him.
Ah,
So he's trying to impress Ra's al Ghul to marry Talia to become the new leader of the League of Assassins. So it
yeah,
fails,
that's a pretty good story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's a run where he's clean off the venom, like because it's a drug. So
Right.
he's clean it out of his system, and he joins the, what is it, Secret Six
Hmm.
with Deadshot, Catman, Enchantress, the daughter of what's his name, the immortal guy, Savage, something Savage.
Oh yeah, Vandal
Yeah,
Savage.
yeah, his
Yeah.
daughter, and they're in the form of a and Ragdoll. Out of everybody, Ragdoll, it's kind of funny character. But yeah, he joins the group. So there's
I
that. Yeah,
I almost said Randall Savage, and then I was like, it's definitely not Randall.
yeah, no.
A guy old as time. Hi, I'm Randall Savage.
But you
No.
gotta admit that would be a pretty terrifying name. I'm Randall Savage. Like, oh God.
Well,
No, and then
I'm gonna move out of DC land if that's all
mhm.
right with you.
That's all
So
right, sir.
I'm moving into Marvel land, and I think this may be my favorite villain, period. And that would be Doctor Doom.
What?
Yeah, because Doctor Doom is the man. I I I love how he's, I don't know, he's just so prideful. He's so brilliant. His like downfall is that Reed is smarter than him. Like that's all it comes down to.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like it just bothers him. And but at the end and major spoilers, so plug your ears, folks, for Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. But just the fact that by the end, Doctor Doom basically saves the world and becomes a god. I mean, it's awesome. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
exactly what should happen to Doctor Doom. Like, I don't know what it is, but and also just the fact that like he's such a different character. I mean, he's a he's like a monarch. I mean, he
He's
rules
the
a
king
country.
of
Yeah,
the.
his people come first,
Mhm.
and I don't know. He's another one of those guys where it's like, yeah, I'm sure if we looked at his whole history, he's done some evil stuff,
Mhm.
but ultimately, I still think he sees himself as good, you know, and he's doing what's right for his people. Um, but yeah, and then like I said, him becoming a god is so awesome. So yeah,
It
Doctor Doom.
really is. I mean, doesn't he wear like all white?
Yeah,
The white that actually looks better than his green
right.
his green hood and everything. But yeah, even his people love him, which you
Yeah.
don't get a lot of villains who are evil kings to get their villains to love him. They just know he's doing what's right for them, and they don't even care.
Mhm.
He's done some pretty messed up things in the Ultimate Universe. Hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because Ben Grimm just like crushes his skull at
Oh,
the end of it. Yeah, yeah. The
brutal.
spoiler alert. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Ultimate Universe, Doom gets his head caved in
Crushed.
by the thing. Yeah.
But see, what's also in I don't know. I really like not in the Ultimate Universe, but in the normal universe, his relationship with Reed and Sue's daughter,
Yeah,
Valeria.
yeah.
Yeah, his
Valerie.
relationship with her, I think, is so interesting. Like she's clearly brilliant, but she almost sees him like an uncle, like
I
just this
think she
other,
does.
yeah, this other person in her life
Mhm.
who she respects in an odd way. She's an interesting character too. I'm not really quite sure what's up with her,
With
but
her, yeah.
yeah, too smart for her own good.
And Doom wants to make sure she doesn't get too dumb or
Yeah.
too naive. So we're sticking with Marvel. My favorite Marvel villain, which sometimes he's classified as anti-hero,
Hmm.
but he didn't start off that way, is Venom.
Ah,
Which,
nice.
yeah, which his movie comes out this Friday, y'all. If y'all wanna
Oh,
go, there's a plug in Marvel. You're welcome. Or Sony.
now pay us $1 million.
Yeah, each. But
Don't be
yeah,
greedy.
well, 1 million for you, 1 million for me. So
Oh, okay.
they could afford it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Venom is probably one of my favorite Marvel villains because uh, it's the same thing. Down on his luck, camera guy, person, reporter tries to break the story of a century, ends up like giving out wrong information. Spider-Man ends up proving him wrong, so he gets, thinking Spider-Man is the cause of all his problems, so he naturally has a hatred for their favorite web slinger, and he ends up going into a church and praying for forgiveness because or something like that. He goes to a church and he's just sitting there praying because what many people don't know, Eddie Brock is a Catholic, if I remembered right. And what ends up happening, the symbiote where Spider-Man is trying to get rid of ends up falling down onto Eddie Brock
Right,
and they
because
end
of
up bonding.
the bells
Yeah,
are ringing, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And so
it's a good
he
scene.
ends up, yeah, it really is because in the comic book it shows that the symbiote actually does care for Peter Parker for moving his unconscious body away from the bell sound so he doesn't die from it.
Mhm.
And then it goes down to Eddie Brock where it feeds off his hatred for Spider-Man, and it just yeah, it's just really wild to see how it comes from loving Peter Parker and Spider-Man to hating him completely due to his host, I
Right.
guess. Yeah. And there's a bunch of crazy Venom stories out there.
Yeah, Venom's a great character. I
Mhm.
think it kind of loses me when, and I think this is kind of what the movie's doing, when
Mhm.
Venom becomes kind of like an anti-hero, like
Yeah.
unless he's like a member of the Thunderbolts, then I'm like, oh, okay, that I'll give him that. But um
Different
I don't
host.
know. I just like it when he, yeah, you're right, that's a different host.
Mhm.
I like it when he's, is that when the Scorpion,
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
Guggenheim? Yeah, whatever his name
Yeah.
is.
He takes over as
Yeah.
Venom.
Anyways, I like it when Venom is just kind of a straight villain,
Yeah.
for Spider-Man. I'm
There
old
are.
fashioned, I guess.
Uh, you're not that old fashioned. I mean, because there are some stories where he has no choice but to team up with our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man against
Right.
their his crazy son Carnage, which
Mhm.
I'll explain later. But yeah,
Oh.
yeah, okay, yeah. It, but I agree with you. Like he's best as a villain, but there are some certain stories I'm like, okay, I can see him as a hero every now and again, but
Mhm.
primarily he's better off as trying to kill the Spider-Man.
Right. Begrudging hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will remain in
Marvel Universe.
the Marvel universe. Um and talk about the builders from Hickman's
What?
run. Yeah.
Explain to us,
Yeah,
for those
so
who do not know.
the builders are one of the many threats in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, but they're these race of very ancient aliens who are just destroying everything in their path. And what I like about them is they just seem so overwhelmingly impossible to defeat. And of course, they're going to defeat them nonetheless.
Mhm,
But I don't know. Just reading it, I'm like, man, how are they going to defeat these beings who are just destroying
mhm,
entire civilizations and planets? And um, anyways, I really
and
like them. Major spoilers for Hickman's
mhm,
run, so don't listen. What I do really like about the builders, though, is that ultimately they're doing that to save the multiverse because it's our Earth that is
causing all the trouble.
the problem, yeah, that's causing like the universes to die. So really they're looking out for the multiverse, and we're like, no, we don't want to die. We're a good Earth. And it's like, when you weigh the options,
Yeah, are you sure about that? I mean,
our universe versus like tons of them, I don't know. So yeah, I like the builders. I also really like it when they finally get beat,
yeah.
thanks to my main man Thor and others. But yeah,
Well, I
what
agree
a
with you
great
there.
run!
Ooh,
Such
it
a great
really
run.
was. Like when I started reading it because you lent me the series, and I was like, what are these funny looking aliens? Like what are and and they were like really super overpowered. And I'm like, how are they gonna do this? I mean, they got a man essentially with a frisbee tossing it at him. How are they going to stop him? We got just a hammer against these guys? No. And then as I kept reading, I'm like, oh my god, they're not going to be able to do. I doubted. I actually doubted the Avengers
I did too.
because well, I think one of the cover arts was like I think the Avengers symbol like cracked.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my god, this is the end of the Avengers. And I kept reading, like, oh my god, like on the edge of my seat until Thor, that one whole panel, I was like, what just happened? Like, it's just amazing. Just, and like you, when they started winning, I'm like, oh my God. my heart started racing. Like, oh my god, this is happening. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. And
That's exactly how I felt.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
great
just
run.
for some reason like the the proportions, the how bad things get in that run are just everything's cranked up to like 11. Like
Yeah.
everything is just going bonkers and like as you read it's like, oh, maybe this isn't the biggest threat. But at first the
Yeah.
builders just seem so overwhelmingly
Mhm.
impossible.
Uh,
Now I
it
just
was
want to go read
insane.
that run. It's a
Yeah,
good one.
you should. It is a good run. Leading into my second favorite villain is the big bad of the MCU of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thanos himself.
Mm.
Now, y'all, there's a good chance y'all seen Avengers Infinity Wars, but he had the right idea. Every day, I feel like if this really happened, I'd be okay with half the universe being gone. Unless I'm the half that disappears. Then I'd be disappeared. Um,
That's right.
yeah. So I could see what he was going for in that film, but in the Great Infinity Gauntlet story run, completely different. He just wants to kill half the universe to impress the Lady Death, and that's pretty much all he wants to do. And it shows how strong and powerful and really how mad he is. That's why he has his name as the Mad Titan, because he wants to kill half the universe just to impress this lady who is ignoring him completely for the entire time. She doesn't even say one word to him at all. And he's just trying like, hey, look at this. I snapped my finger. Half of the universe is gone. Oh, you're still not talking? Hey, I'll create another woman who loves me just to make you jealous and nothing. And so he just he just takes apart the Avengers after they go and challenge him. Like he he has his lady like rip off Iron Man's head. He yeah, she literally like ripped his head off and just like tosses it away. She crushes Spider-Man's skull with a rock. And sorry, major spoilers, but good chance y'all read it or aren't gonna read it because Infinity Wars is out. But he does so much damage that it's insane, and it's beyond beyond anything I ever thought Marvel would have done. And then later on, he comes back in your amazing Hickman run, just wanting to kill his son.
Yeah.
That's it. The stone search is just like one little side story for him. He just wants to go and kill his son because he doesn't want his children around. So he's just trying to kill all of his kids.
Yeah,
And he
anything that
does
could
a
be a
good job.
threat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which he does pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Pardon my French, but pretty well. And so yeah, like this is the guy who goes toe to toe against the Hulk, Thor, any uh what are those sensual gods or celestials?
Mm, yeah.
Galactus. He goes toe to toe with all of these, and he's still roaming around there, and he just doesn't care. He's just like, I'll take you down. I'll prove how strong I am, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, the Mad
That's
Titan. He's
yeah.
a good pick.
Mhm.
I'm a I almost put Thanos down, but then I figured you would put Thanos down. So I was like, that's how I was with the
Yeah.
Joker too. I almost put the Joker down. I was like, nah, he'll probably have the Joker. So
Yeah.
I know you so well. So
Talk
next,
about this at work all the time.
yeah. Next I have. Let's see who I have. I have someone from the manga Blade the Immortal. I have Anatsu Kagahisa. If I said that name right.
I hope you said
And
that right.
um, so Anatsu, he's kind of the main, at least at the beginning, kind of the main antagonist. And he's another guy who I think in his mind and heart, he thinks he's doing the right thing. It's just it affects other people pretty detrimentally. Um, he starts this sword school called and I'll butcher this probably too, but the Ito Ryu, something like that. And he starts it because it's a sword school that's not a sword school. Basically, he looks around and sees all of these samurais and like peacetime who start their own sword schools and they train disciples and they really aren't amounting to anything. So he thinks if there was ever a real threat, they wouldn't be much of a defense because they've never faced a real threat. So he gathers like this following um, without, they don't have any style. Their only style is you do anything to win, you do anything to defeat your opponent.
Mhm.
And he just goes around Japan just crushing all these schools and like by any means necessary. Like so he's making a lot of enemies, killing a lot of folk. Ultimately that brings him, you know, in opposition to some of the main characters, but he's not as you read the series you realize he's not evil. He's not doing it because he's an evil person. I think his logic is flawed, but he
Mhm.
sees I think that he's doing it as a benefit to his nation, you know, as a benefit
Yeah,
to everyone. So he's an interesting character. One reason to read Blade of the Immortal.
just one reason.
Oh, there are many reasons to read Blade of the
Yeah,
Immortal.
like I just do that. You could have done like many reasons. So, well, that's what I like about some villains. Like they don't make them as crazy as a Joker with no motive. Like there's some of them out there with a good uh, background story. Like there's a purpose to what they're doing.
Mhm.
Like they don't do it because they see themselves being evil. They're doing it because like this will benefit everybody else with us doing the things we do. Like I don't know. I won't even try to pronounce his name. Like this guy in the Blade of the Immortal.
Mhm.
Like he's out there just doing it to prepare everybody in case something happens, like a war
Right.
or yeah. So this character that I'm gonna say from Marvel is probably Marvel's version of the Joker, but
Oh.
with Spider-Man's powers, which is everyone's
Oh
uh,
yeah.
crazy, psychotic favorite symbiote, Carnage, with
Woohoo!
with Cletus Cassidy, which is probably the only person who hosted the
Carnage.
Red Symbiote. Yeah,
Yeah.
Carnage. And the thing that makes him so great and awesome is just that I think I read somewhere that he was pretty much their answer for the Joker because has that smile,
Hmm.
the same kind of angular jaw kind of thing as he does, but he has all of Venom's strength. Just his weaknesses aren't as strong as Venom's is with fire and sonic sounds. He could I think he's the one who uses his symbiote as actual weapon. Like he can
Mhm.
make axes, spikes, tendrils, all this
Right.
crazy enough crazy things and uh he literally physically has bonded completely with his symbiote that he doesn't say we like Venom does. He says I. Like
Hmm.
I am Carnage. I do this. I do that. And Venom usually goes, "We are Venom. We do this. We hate you, Spider-Man." Carnage is just already bonded completely with this serial killer who was dangerous already to begin with, and is now even more dangerous now with the symbiote kind of thing.
Right.
There's a bunch of amazing stories with him. with the Carnage, like Maximum Carnage. Deadpool versus Carnage is probably by far my favorite because he's hilarious. They're hilarious together. And what is it? Family Feud, Venom vs. Carnage by Michael Clayton, I think, did the artwork for that one,
Hmm.
which is always amazing to see his artwork. Yeah, that's my thought of the
It's a good
psychotic.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so now we're gonna get into a character that I actually like hate. Like I'm like, "Arr, this guy.
You want to
He's an
punch him in the face.
yeah. So this is another Blade of the Immortal character. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler because he basically, as soon as you meet him, does awful things. His name is Shira, and this guy is just like he's the worst. I mean, he murders, he like hurts people for pleasure. I mean, he's just like the worst of the worst, like type dude. And every time he's around, I'm like, "Grr, I hope somebody gets him." And I don't know. It's been a while since I think I've had such a strong dislike, of a character because they're so like evil.
Mhm.
Like honestly, like I think the last time I was that like upset was reading Game of Thrones. I read Game of Thrones, or sorry, A Song of Ice and Fire. I read A Song of Ice and Fire before ever seeing the show Game of Thrones, and when I first read Joffrey, that was probably like the same reaction. I was like, "This guy, I hate this guy," and that's how I feel about Shira. If you've read Blade of the Mortal, fans out there who are listeners, you know, this guy is no good. So he's a good villain, I guess, in the way that he brings up such strong feelings in me. But
Strong feelings, hatred, pure
yeah,
hatred.
I do not like him. I do not like him at all.
You hate him. You
Yes,
hate him. Um,
but yeah, I won't spoil too much. But yeah, he's no good. He's no good. Mm-mm.
the one person I felt that way towards were actually a couple. And Slavers in the Punisher's run with Garth Ennis. The Slavers in that whole series had me feel like that, like, oh my God, I hate these people.
I
Because
agree.
they,
That's true.
yeah, they grab the women. They, how does she say they have to rape them to break them kind of
Mhm.
thing, pretty much. And that's pretty much what they do to break the women. They do all these horrible things. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate these people. Like, I hate them. And then the Punisher, obviously, spoiler alert, kills them all. So I'm like, yes,
Such a spoiler.
yeah, it's from the Punisher. Come on. Uh, the second one is actually from Full Metal Alchemist. I forget his name, but what he does to his daughter and her
Oh
dog,
my gosh. Oh my
I
gosh.
I, I hated that guy. I was like, why would he do that? And I was like, they should have. Like, oh my God, I still can't believe
So,
the poor little kid.
do you uh do you remember I mean it's not that old, that Nike campaign that came out with
Yes, yeah, I did.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I
So
did not care for that.
yeah, so the meme with the just uh believe in something even if it means
Yeah,
sacrificing everything, and it's that guy and
yeah,
his like dog daughter. It's like,
yeah.
oh
Like,
my gosh.
yeah, that's another one. I was like, oh my God, I don't like this guy. I wanted him
No,
like,
that was the first time Full Metal Alchemist like really shocks you. Like it's like, oh shoot, this got heavy, like real
yeah,
heavy. Yeah, you're
like
right.
real fast.
I dislike that guy as well.
Like
Um
that's his father. Who would do that to their own
I
kid?
yeah,
Ah,
he's
jeez.
spoilers for Full Metal
Yeah.
Alchemist if you can piece together what we're saying. But yeah. Yeah, I don't even
Just
know that guy's name, but he's on the list.
yeah,
He's just on
yeah.
the list.
I thought the way you say like, yeah, he's on the list. He's gonna go. That guy is gonna kick the bucket. Oh man, just so terrible.
Very, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I kind of like, I forgot about him. I tried to block it out apparently.
yeah. You repressed it. Uh, so my honorable mention right now
Okay.
has to be the crazy beast that killed Superman. None other than Doomsday.
Ah, very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I got a symbol tattooed on my right arm
Oh,
from the Smallville series. Yeah, so
ah, nice.
yeah.
So I think my honorable mentions, just because I have a few, but I don't have a whole lot to say.
Mhm.
Kimberly, he's a character from Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if you've gone that far yet, but
Not yet.
Kimberly, I don't remember. I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I read that series, but I just remember liking him, but also like not liking him. Like he's like a cool bad guy, but it's like no, you're still pretty bad.
Yeah.
You're not a good guy. Um, and then another guy that's on my list of like I actually really dislike this person. Um, in Rick Remender's 10 issue series Tokyo Ghost with art by Sean Murphy. I highly recommend because Sean Murphy's art number one is
Mhm.
amazing.
It is.
And
His name does ring a bell.
yeah. And number two, it's only 10 issues and it's depressing as most Rick Remender things are, but kind of hopeful, maybe a little bit.
Not
So
really, but
yeah, but a little bit. Um, but Tokyo Ghost takes place, and I always almost say Tokyo Ghoul because there's a manga called Tokyo
mhm.
Ghoul, but this is Tokyo Ghost by Rick Remender. It takes place in like a future Los Angeles, and basically how everyone is with their phones basically nowadays. Like everyone's so like looking at their phones, plugged
Mhm.
into their phones all the time. Basically, people can like uh they put on some sort of headwear or like goggles or something, and it's like they're like it's like the internet. Like they're like
Mhm.
always like wired. So people are just like perpetually like watching things. There's
Oh, like
advertisements everywhere.
virtual reality kind of thing.
Yeah, to an extent, but like people are
Yeah.
just so into technology. So it's basically kind of like a don't get too into technology story.
Mhm.
But there's this guy, I think his name is like Davy Trauma or something, and he's just like he's a bad guy basically.
Mhm.
Um, if you really got really deep, I think technology is the bad guy, but we won't go there. But
Another
Davy
time.
Trauma,
Yeah.
yeah, Davy Trauma is just another character where it's like he's so evil. It's like another level of evil where it's almost hard to read. Like, um, he's like so far gone in technology and that world where um he like he like kills people and like almost thinks it's like a game, like it's a video game. So he's like keeping like a score and tracking like he's like serial killer level, but he thinks it's like fun because he's like so desensitized to
Yeah.
violence and stuff. And you're like, dude, I really don't like this guy. So he's an honorable mention just
Mhm.
because um I really did not care for him either. But like I said, it's a pretty good story. Only 10 issues. Um, the complete collection, I think it's still out. Um, obviously, it has all of it. It's an image book, and all of Rick Remender's image stuff is giant. So you get to see Sean Murphy's art just super big. It's almost like absolute size. So um, it's almost worth getting that just for the art. Actually, I'd say it is. It's I'm not usually like
Just
a
go get it. That's what he's
yeah,
saying.
I'm not usually like a art is I think I'm usually a story over art kind of guy,
Mhm.
but Sean Murphy's art is so good in it, and I'm gonna look up how much. I'm just curious because I don't think it's that much. It's like surprisingly cheap.
So
I'm
while
not
he's
I'm not being paid by Rick
yeah,
Remender.
not yet. Anyways, remember Rick, 1 million per person.
Yeah, so
For
on
the
Amazon, the complete collection is only $27, which is pretty good. for what you get. It's
Hmm.
like I said, absolute sized, and it's gorgeous art. But you will hate that character, Davy Trauma, as I did.
I mean, probably. I mean, with the people sometimes I have to deal with, I don't know. I mean, I might be like almost close to that guy's level. Another honorable mention of mine is because I don't know where to classify him as a villain because all he does is it's Mr. Freeze. All he does really is to try to get money to fund his bringing his wife back from that disease
Right.
that she had. So, and there's some stories where it's very heartbreaking the way
Hmm.
he does it. Like there was one quick little from the Batman animated series comic book style was the only reason Mr. Freeze like was freezing or making it snow in all of Gotham was because he and his wife got married on a snowy day, and Batman asked him like, "Why now? Why on this day of all days are you doing this now?" And he just points at his wife's gravestone, and then Batman's like, "Oh, okay." And I don't remember if he lets him go or whatnot. I just know he like puts his hand on Mister Freeze as he's kneeling down, looking at his wife's grave, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" Like he's one of those villains that tugs at my heartstrings, and unless it's the new 52, that's garbage freeze. Don't read that.
Garbage freeze.
That's not yeah, that's not Mr. Freeze I know and love that we all know and love. And Batman and Robin Freeze,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
good cartoonish, yeah, but
I do have one more honorable mention,
mhm.
and then I'll probably be done. Dark Side. I
Ah.
I I I kind of used to think Darkseid was so like just I'm evil because I'm evil. I'm an
Mhm.
evil god. And that's still kind of mostly how he's portrayed. But honestly, and this will be a spoiler, so I actually won't say anything. But if you read the Mr. Miracle series that's a part of the Seven Soldiers of Victory, so it's a 4-issue series, like you what he does to Mr. Miracle is like there's this one scene at the end which I'm not going to spoil because it's so messed up. But that was like when I was like, "Whoa, this guy, that's a bad dude." Like I don't know, like when he's like cosmically bad,
Mhm.
like in Final Crisis or something, and he's like
Yeah.
enslaved human race. It's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Like
Mhm.
it's like comic book bad. But in Mr. Miracle and Grant Morrison's Mr. Miracle, he just does something that's like it's a very simple thing, and it's just it's so bad, it's so mean. And I was like, wow, this guy's messed up. Anyways, now you all get to go read that and wonder what
Yeah.
it was that I was so like whoa about. But it's basically the last page of his series, and it's
No,
like,
no,
dang,
you can't tell them what page it is. Now they're just gonna go to the end and look at that page. No, ignore what he said.
that's true. Sorry,
There's no last page.
it's the first page.
Yeah, just ignore it, guys. Just go read the full run of Mr. Miracle's Seven Soldiers of Fortune because I definitely will. I'm not gonna be peeking
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end.
It's only 4 issues. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
not
not that
not
long. I mean,
not the not obviously not the new Tom King Mr. Miracle. This is
yeah.
the Grant Morrison Mr. Miracle
Oh, so it's
miniseries.
definitely gonna be trippy. I mean,
It is
it's Grant
so
Morrison.
trippy. It is so trippy. Well, that was a good episode, I think.
It was. It
Yeah.
was. Though I'm actually surprised you did not mention your gal pal Proxima Midnight.
I do like Proxima Midnight, but there's not like a ton about her. You know what I mean? Like she's
Yeah.
not she kind of just appears and you're like, "Oh, you're cool. You beat up Namor. Yay."
Yeah.
Actually, she doesn't
Well,
even beat up
not
Namor.
even. Yeah, she
He
doesn't.
just like he just surrenders. He's like, yeah, Atlantis is it's kind of messed
Destroyed.
up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see what you mean. All right. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this amazing episode, War of the Villains. Episode 8. Episode 9, I believe we are still working on that one.
Yeah, I
So
guess so. We'll figure it
just
out.
tune in. Yeah, just tune in for the following week. We'll surprise you with something great and amazing. This is Bigby, and
Boyblue.
we are signing off. But please like, subscribe, comment which villains are your favorites, or which ones that you just literally want to punch in the face, like
Exactly. Yeah.
the
It's
ones we
my
just
strong
mentioned.
feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Alrighty. Enjoy your evening, morning, afternoon, whichever time you're watching this, and we are signing off.